starting with the call center, because since October 1, when we've now gone to this virtual 311 call center, we're actually getting more calls in the mayor's office because people are looking for a real person to answer the phone. So this will be run by Waste Pro and not the city of South Fulton, their call center?
That's correct.
All right. There will be real people locally. And what are the hours?
I believe the hours will be 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
All right. I'm going to ask, I don't know what is possible because what has already been negotiated, but maybe if we could go 8 to 8, something just a little bit later so that people who are getting home after work find out their trash hasn't been picked up or whatever, you know, it's, yeah. But I just want to be clear, if you have individual cards and you're living in a townhouse community behind the gate, we are picking this company for you all as well.
Yes.
The transfer station, are people still going to be able to take items to Merck Miles, or will Waste Pro run who's going to run Merck Miles?
Well, we, the city, will still manage efforts at Merck Miles.
I know that we had previously heard, when we've been through this process before, people saying, "Oh, I take my trash to Merck Miles. Can I get an exemption if I bring my ticket?" Right? Can folks do that?
No.
So these next questions, there'll be more like legal questions. I never saw the RFP. Okay. So I'm assuming that the RFP will now be available for people to see, or that we can see it.
Well, let's see. It was definitely posted when we advertised it.
Okay.
I'm not sure of all the details because that's kind of out of my comfort zone, to be honest.
Is there language in the RFP that says, Attorney Hyman, that this price that you're giving us, you are committed to for 4 years and cannot back out of?
I've been provided with a draft contract, but I've yet to finally go through all of it. So that will be part of the final document. I wasn't involved in the actual RFP process, but I'm pretty sure the quotes and the pricing, I'll leave that up to the gentleman here as to what they believe they were negotiating for in that price structure.
Mr. Hyman, you're saying that you're reviewing the contract now, that you haven't finished that. Did you not review the RFP?
What normally happens is that the user department will coordinate with the purchasing.
We don't have a procurement manager right now, do we, Mr. Toms?
We have someone acting in that capacity.
Okay. Who legally reviewed the RFP before it went out? Who was the legal reviewer for the RFP?
It was the prior procurement manager.
Okay. I want to make sure that the things that we communicate, I still haven't seen it, so I would like to see the RFP, but I just want to make sure that the things that we asked for and the things that they promised, that there is actual, that these people are legally bound by these things, because I'm hearing that we're still negotiating some things, so I don't want to get a change order in 2022 where, like, you know, somehow because of something that was left out in the process.
Let me clarify. There's nothing to negotiate.
Okay.
I think some of the items that Mr. Burkett is mentioning is those additional, like recycling. If we do our recycling centers by zone or by district, those kind of items are not. But as far as the services to be provided, yes, we have a solid lock on those. And then based on the questions and responses, such as council is looking for a minimum of an 8 to 8 type of call center. So when they put in the bid, they put in the bid for 8 to 5. So if there's any tweaks and changes to account for the extra 3 hours per day, then that may come back with the final contract that will be presented to the entire council to approve. So those are the kind of tweaks and changes, but based on the bid received, no, sir, there is no more negotiation. That is what we are running off of.
How many years will did they bid for a specific number of years? Was that in the RFP or?
The initial term, I want to say, is 4 years. As part of the RFP, we did note that there is an adjustment for inflation in there that's tied to the consumer price index.
So they negotiated this price with the expectation that they would have this service for 4 years.
And it has some renewals on it as well, yes. The process that we're following does use a CPI index to adjust. However, the first 2 years are already included in that number that I gave you earlier. So for the first 2 years, it should be that number.
Recycling is not an option at all. That's not like an additional add-on service that someone can ask for.
We weren't able to find a cost-effective option for curbside recycling, which is where they pick it up at your home. So in lieu of that, we're looking at other opportunities to provide recycling. That's something that is important.
When you say we, would that be Waste Pro or would that be the city?
In terms of the locations, or?
Who would pick it up?
Well, again,
regardless, once we set the locations, yeah, is that part of their RFP that they will pick it up at recycling centers that we have designated, or?
I would say that is to be determined.
It would be my hope, however it's worked out, whoever does it, that we might have multiple recycling sites around the city, at least 5 or 6 at the very minimum. Just the places that we do it now, Creel Park and Merck Miles, the places that we have these spring cleanups or whatever, because I do know that there's some people that are interested in that. I would also encourage us to look at a partnership with Strategic Glass. I know that they're in the city of South Fulton. They are the largest glass recycler, I think, in the Southeast. I do know that many people who recycle do not do glass. So we might need to combine 2 or 3 different people that just have the maximum number of products recycled as possible, because everything that we recycle stays out of a landfill that is probably south of I-20. But speaking to the procurement process, I do also remember 2018. I do have a slightly different memory. We actually did go through a process, and we were about to announce the vendor, but because there were alleged issues with the RFP process, we abandoned the vendor that we selected, and that's how we got to this. That's how we got to this market process. I'm still a little concerned about this RFP process, which has been opaque to me, but I am cautiously optimistic that next year, every South Fulton resident will have a can with our logo on it, which will be, I think, one of the most unifying things that we have done.